All of this is going to sound like bull, but I need you to believe me. Santa Claus and his elves are real. The North Pole is real. The Polar Express is real. Keep an open mind while you listen to this, and hopefully, this will get through to you so no more bad things can happen to innocent people. I'll try to keep this as short as I can. I don't have much time and I am terrified that I won't be able to upload this before then. For as long as I can remember, I've worked for Santa Claus. I could walk the length of the Polar Express each Christmas Eve, serving them hot chocolate and sweets and steaming savory meals. I would work on Christmas Eve and then sleep until the next Christmas came, an endless loop of joy. I enjoyed my job, it felt like a purpose. Tending to the children before they got to Santa's workshop was something I took pride in. I didn't question how I started to work for Santa. I couldn't remember volunteering for the job. Like I said earlier, I can't remember anything before Santa. I should have questioned it sooner. The Polar Express was all that I knew, and I was content with it. There are a few things you need to know about the Polar Express, the real Polar Express. I'm sure you've heard of or seen adaptations of it. The first thing you need to know is that the Polar Express only gives out tickets to orphans or children with neglectful parents. We were told that it was because these kids are the ones who need the magic of Christmas the most. The second thing you need to know is that we are not allowed to lose children. This much is obvious. We were told that children are innocent and should not be harmed. The third thing you need to know is that we have rules in place in case of the children being lost. The rules being to find the lost children and bring them back to Santa by the end of the night on Christmas Eve, or you will no longer work on the Polar Express. The fourth thing you need to know is that the workers are not allowed to leave their post on the Polar Express, unless in the case of a lost child. Now that you know that, I can tell you what happened on Christmas Eve 3 days ago, and what I saw. The night was going smoothly, we had picked up all the children for the night, and we were on our way to the North Pole. We were close, only 10 minutes away. Then, the alarm sounded for a lost child. The alarm only caters to adult ears, so it doesn't startle the other children. We were told it was so they wouldn't be panicked and so that they could enjoy their time once they got to Santa's workshop. The alarm also only sounds to one person. We were told it was this way so that there would still be workers available to cater to the children while one of us looked for the lost child. The workers would lock the door of each cabin to make sure that no one else would be lost, and so that the workers searching would be able to spot any child that wasn't where they were supposed to be. Of course, I heard the alarm sound, so the lost child was my responsibility. I tried to remain composed as I searched the entirety of the train. I did not want to face any possible repercussions in the case that I caused any of the children to panic. As long as I found the lost child and delivered them to Santa by the end of the night, I would be fine. I didn't find the child until we had already stopped at the North Pole. The child was hiding in one of the storage cabins, tucked away in a box meant to house candy canes. I coaxed the child out, promising her that everything would be alright, that if she came with me, that she could see the inside of Santa Claus's workshop, and receive the gift of Christmas when the clock struck midnight. It took a while, she was scared, but eventually I convinced her to come with me. The carriage that normally carried the children to the workshop had long been gone, so I had to leave the Polar Express and deliver her to Santa myself. I scooped her up and carried her so that her bunny slippers would not be soaked by the snow. I delivered her to Santa just as midnight came. We are instructed to return to the Polar Express as soon as we deliver the children. but for some reason, I felt compelled to stay longer that night. I got to see the children receive the gift of Christmas. 3, 2, 1, the children chanted along with Santa's elves. Merry Christmas! Santa chuckled. Ho ho ho! Merry Christmas, children! Santa raised his hand into the air, and a blinding orb of white light exploded from his palm. All of the children in front of him fell to the ground. Hundreds of small bodies, unblinking, unbreathing. I'm not sure how it happened, but it was the shock I needed to wake up. My mind was suddenly free from Santa's hold. I realized that I had been a zombie for the past 30 years. I remembered who I was before the Polar Express. I watched as Santa's elves gathered up the children from the ground. I watched as they stripped them naked and put some of them in matching elf clothing. I watched as some of them were put in server outfits just like me. I watched as Santa raised his hand into the air once more, another orb of light. I watched as all of the children were older in a blink. I watched as they jumped up from the ground and immediately began to smile, reanimated. I watched as some of them marched into Santa's workshop, some into the Polar Express. It's a dream of every child to meet Santa Claus. Not many get to see his workshop. Not many get to receive the gift of Christmas. Those who are lucky to receive the gift of Christmas get to stay with Santa Claus forever. We always delivered the children to the North Pole, but I could never recall bringing them back home. I stood there frozen as I realized what happened to me as a child, what Santa had been doing for centuries. Orphans and neglected children were chosen for the Polar Express because they would not be missed, not because they needed the magic of Christmas. We are not allowed to lose children because it would mean that Santa would have one less worker than he wanted, not because he was concerned that the child would be harmed. I did not remember volunteering to work for Santa, because I had never volunteered. Thousands of children go missing in the world each year. This is where some of them go. Santa and I made eye contact at that moment. His eyes were nothing but black, empty sockets. He chuckled and then smiled at me. He walked away to prepare for next Christmas, and I was left alone in the snow. He said nothing, but somehow I knew why he left me alive. My heart had stopped beating all of those years ago, when I was given the gift of Christmas. The jolly magic in me is the only thing keeping me alive right now. And now that I knew the truth, the magic would slowly start leaking out of me, and I would cease to be. I don't have much time, so I beg you, save any children you can before Santa feels the need to save them first. Beware the sound of a train on Christmas Eve. It may be the sound of the Polar Express delivering a child to their death.